All right, welcome to another show of Politricks, You Decide, with Tula Cabona, Brother Justin Barnett. Yes. And we have a very outstanding special guest today.
Yes, we do.
We'll be putting them on. I call her the Fannie Lou Hamer of politics.
Wow.
There's a reason, and I'll say why later. But you know we always say, if you hear the sound of my voice, that means God has blessed you to see another day.
Yes.
Prayers go up, blessings come down. Let's say amen.
Amen.
All right, so amen. So I want to always start out with giving shouts out to Brother R.J. Watkins for being the brainchild and putting this together, him and Brother Henry Tyler, putting this radio show together so we can share black thought without worrying about black interruption or black cancellations. I want to give shouts out to Miss Michelle, Miss Maxine, and everybody else that's affiliated with the WHPR family. And I want to give shouts out to my special co-host, Brother Justin Barnett.
I appreciate it. I like how you did the intro for me. I appreciate that.
No problem.
But I want to give a shout out to the listeners. I want to give a shout out to my mom too. And I also want to put emphasis on that we do have a special guest in the house, don't we?
We do. And you know what? I believe that we should give people their flowers while they're alive. And this particular councilwoman has been doing a lot for the city. As she said, they would call her the Quiet Storm. So let us introduce you to
Let's go.
Mary Waters, City Councilwoman. Give her hand.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Waters, can you please just introduce yourself to the audience?
All right. So first of all, let me just say thank you to both of you, Tula and Jesse. Thank you all so very, very much for this opportunity. I want to give a shout out to 313. You know, it's a birthday, 324 years now.
Yes, ma'am.
The D is that old. So special shout out to all of the 313s. But yes, I am Mary Waters, a former state legislator, first African-American female floor leader in the history of the Michigan House of Representatives. The 6 years that I served there, I didn't miss a day of work.
Wow.
I also am currently an at-large member of the Detroit City Council. It's an honor to serve. Hey, you guys, I represent the whole D.
I like that. Yes, ma'am.
The whole D. And it's an honor to be able to do that. You know, no matter where I go throughout this city, people are stopping me in the grocery stores, in the park, wherever I am, and they say thank you for all that you do. But I have to thank them for giving me an opportunity to serve.
Yes, ma'am.
I like serving. I like making wonderful, positive things happen.
Yes, ma'am.
I like going to battle on behalf of those that I represent. Yeah, sometimes I have to take on the big boys. It depends, you know. I mean, you try to work with them, but there are times that you can't, and so you have to take them on, such as the Detroit Land Bank is one of those things that I have to take on because so many people find themselves just being mistreated by the Detroit Land Bank. And so I'm the person standing there, the Lone Ranger.
Okay, say it again, the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger, that's right. But sometimes you have to stand alone.
And so, that's why I called you the Fannie Lou Hamer of politics. When I first said to you at the fish fry, you were like, what? Because that's what Fannie Lou Hamer did. Fannie Lou Hamer stood along no matter what she dealt with. As you know the history of her, she was a powerhouse, and we appreciate you. But I was intrigued by the story concerning your father being a self-taught mechanic.
Yes.
Can you please share that? Because I really think that was somewhat of a, if I'm correct, a motivation for you to move forth and becoming the person that you are.
Yes, that was certainly part of my motivation. Other parts of my motivation certainly had to do with how I grew up as a youngster.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I worked at a very early age in the cotton and tobacco fields of Alabama.
Wow.
And so I managed to really get a very strong work ethic early on, understanding that you have to get up and go to work early, you know, to help out with the family. And then my dad, well, you know, just a self-taught mechanic, he was just so smart.
Right.
You know, very, very smart. And so General Motors recognized that some years ago and says, hey, we want you to come here and work with us here in Detroit. And so my dad did for a while, You know, I was too young to stay here on my own.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he didn't like the big city and the bright lights. He wanted to move back to Alabama, so he moved all us back to Alabama. But I made a commitment to myself, and I said, you know, when I am old enough, I will return to Detroit. And that's exactly what I did. And so I've been here longer than I was in Alabama.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what made you really delve into the politics? What drove you to say, okay, let me stick my foot into doing politics?
Yes.
Well, you know, I never thought I would run for office. I mean, that was never a goal when I first started. I used to help a lot of other people. I helped judges when they were running. I helped other state representatives and people who were running for council. I did all of those. I volunteered a lot. And so then one day, a friend of mine, she and I were headed to a prayer breakfast. Dr. Margaret Betts, I'll never forget it. We were headed to a prayer breakfast, and she kept saying, you need to run, you need to run. You're always helping everybody else. I said, are you crazy? If you think that I'm going to get up and talk in front of people, I'm not going to do that. So then she said, well, you need to do it. And so she kept bugging me about it. So I went on into the prayer breakfast, not even, I was pretty convinced going into the prayer breakfast that I wasn't going to do it. But Sheila Van did a prayer at that prayer breakfast. We were at the Northwest Activity Center. I'll never forget.
Okay.
That lady prayed such a powerful, powerful prayer. It did something to me. So when I walked out that door, and she and I were walking back to the car, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And she was like, yay! But it was her prayer that moved me.
Yes, ma'am.
For whatever reason, I cannot explain it to this day.
Yes, ma'am.
But I decided to do it, and I had some people trying to discourage me to do it. You know, oh, don't do it, don't do it. All the deals have been cut. You know, I was running for the Charter Revision Commission at that time, and you know, it's citywide. And so I said, you know, a friend of mine took me to lunch, very political guy, and he says, well, you know, I'm asking you not to run. All the deals have been cut. People have the union endorsement. You're not going to be able to raise any money. It's a citywide race. And I kept listening to him. Then finally, he looked at me and he said, but you're going to do it anyway, aren't you? And I said, yes, I am. And he goes, but why? I said, because I'm stepping out on faith.
That's right.
You know, so I did. But let me tell you all, Tula, the first interview that I had, and you know, going into the primary, I knew all the deals that had been cut. I believed them, but I had an interview with a group of labor people. Had to be about 60 of them in a room. I had never interviewed with anybody before. Why would I have that many people at one time? My first interview, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I walked into the room and all those people were there. I forgot my own name. I was just in shock. I didn't know what to say. And I remember Larry Lewis took me by my hand. He was like, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. But, I of course, I didn't get the endorsement at that time. But there were about 60 of us running for that seat.
So how many?
60.
Wow.
For the Charter Revision Commission. As you know, ultimately in November there will be 9 elected. But I won in the primary.
Okay.
Didn't have those endorsements. Couldn't do a mail or none of that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Just people loving on me is what happened.
Right, absolutely.
And so same guy. After I won in the primary, out of a field of 60, I came in number 6. And so he says, okay, this is an Eat Crow lunch. He took me to lunch. And he says, well, this is an Eat Crow lunch. He said, but you know, there are 18 of you going into the general. He said, you could lose in the general, you know. And I says, I won't lose in the general. I says, I'll come in even higher.
That's right.
I said,
That's
I
right.
came in number 3 in the general, right behind a Bradley and a Crockett name. Now, that was powerful stuff at that time.
Yes, ma'am.
Because those were household names.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I said that to him, he was like, woo. So after I came in number 3, a friend of mine called me up, and she said, ooh, you came in number 3, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
That's what she said.
That's right.
And I've never ever forgotten that. And that's why I tell people, sometimes when you want to do something, when you believe that you have something to offer, just do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes that will just be roadblocks put up for you, you know, and you have to keep going. If it's in your heart to do it, once I made up my mind, it was in my heart to do it, and I wasn't going to let him or anybody else stop me, you know. And that's exactly what I did. And I worked very, very hard to become the Charter Revision Commission, where I served as the vice chair of that Charter Revision Commission. And that was the first time that I had ever been elected to office. And I took that job very serious. You know, it was important for me to be there for all the meetings. You know, we got paid, maybe I want to say maybe $75 stipend for each meeting, but we had to exceed that. We could only get paid for up to 90 meetings. But guess what? The commitment was there. When the little stipend ran out, I was still there.
That's right.
Because why? Because I asked the people to elect me to that office.
That's right.
And so I wanted to see it through. And that's what you have to do. Don't get elected because you want a title. You run for office, you get elected because there's a job to do. Don't let the people down. And sometimes people get so caught up in themselves and they forget about the
You said in
purpose.
politics they do that, Mr.
Oh my God, yes. Oh, it happens. You know what happens.
I do. I do.
You know, but what I'm saying is that if you think that you cannot serve the people, go do something else. You know,
That's right.
politics is not a game where you go to enrich yourself. You know, when you go into public service, you want to leave the place better off than when you arrived. And that's always been my goal. Even as a state rep, Diane Byram and I were the 2 leaders in the House. And guess what? We left the Democratic caucus in the House in the majority. That's part
good.
of
That's
our
good.
legacy,
Right.
leadership legacy, because we wanted to leave them better off than when we arrived.
Right.
Yes.
So the various programs and different things and policies that I'm putting into place at the city level right now on this city council, it is to leave things in a better way than when I arrived.
Yes, ma'am.
More services that can help our people, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
And so those are the kinds of things that I want people to keep in mind when you ask people to put you up. I mean, the fact that you can talk a good game, sometimes the best talkers in the world can't deliver a thing or they won't.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
You've got to have people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and get the job done.
Good job.
So, I mean, and then if you look at your history prior to that, right? Because I was listening to you do your interview, and you was talking about how when you was at Blue Cross Blue Shield, you started a political organization there.
Yes, I did. I was one of the union organizers, UAW Local 2500. That's
ma'am.
right. That's right, because you have employees. All employees cannot fight for themselves, so they have to have organizations like the UAW and SEIU and some of the others, carpenters unions and whatever, whom I work with a lot of them right now in the city council. But, you know, to be that strong voice for them because they don't know how to fight back on their own. So, yes, I was one of the organizers bringing in UAW Local 2500. In addition to that, I started a holiday choir at Blue Cross Blue Shield as well. Yeah, we used to go around. Had a great choir too. Matter of fact, it's you never know what people might remember. A couple of months ago, I read in the paper, well, this lady, she had something very positive to say about me. I don't know who she is, but she said, you know, she's pretty even-tempered or whatever, just to kind of paraphrase what she said. And she said, and you know, she started the choir.
Yes, ma'am.
And I said, oh my goodness, I didn't even know people would remember that.
Yes, ma'am.
And there were other people who read the article and they said, you started a choir too?
Absolutely.
At Blue Cross Blue Shield? Yes, I did. UAW 2500
crazy.
organizer, started the choir, one of the founders of their political action committee.
Wow.
I was. That's why Blue Cross Blue Shield has a PAC, because a number of us got together and we started the PAC.
I think it's good how you move, how you call yourself the Quiet Storm. I find it amazing, though. I find it amazing that you did 6 years and did not miss a day.
That's right.
And that to me shows commitment, right? So I want to ask you, how was
attendance.
it? How did it feel to be the first black woman who was the floor leader? Did you feel a little bit intimidated?
Just a little bit. I did, you know. I did, when my colleagues decided to honor me with that role, yeah, it was a little scary, frankly. You know, oh boy, am I gonna let them down? You know, that kind of thing. But you know, each day that I did it, I was nervous. I wasn't comfortable with that. Some people are very comfortable with those kinds of things, but what I was comfortable with doing is to make sure that I helped my colleagues, you know, not necessarily being that big voice on the floor, you know, but quietly walking around, talking with them about things, updating them on things during our caucus meetings and so forth, you know, working with the other side of the aisle to determine what was going to be on the floor. And sometimes they would tell us, you know, when they were in the majority, and sometimes they would not. Sometimes that floor leader on the other side would say, well, then you're going to have to wait and be surprised, you know. So and all of that was left up to whoever was in the majority in terms of what bills they were going to move on the floor. Most of the time they told you, but sometimes they were, you know, kind of up to a few things and they weren't going to tell us.
So, I mean, and I look at that. So I'm like you, and I like how you moving, because you're a quiet storm. You know, some people and you know this, be in politics with a big mouth and you know what they say, they just don't show the people.
They can't deliver.
Yes,
they
ma'am.
can't, or they won't deliver.
So what is your advice we hear people like that, Ms. Water? You being a person that's been in politics with the person who talked the loudest and ain't saying nothing.
I mean, you know, I said at a candidates forum just on Saturday, I said, stop talking so much. Let's get some things done. I'm so sick and tired. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of this talking. Yes, we've got some intelligent people in this city. Oh, we do. We've got some and some talent here, without question. But sometimes people can talk it. They have it here, but getting them to move on and to implement things, that's a different story. That is a different story. And that Quiet Storm name was given to me by my colleagues in Lansing.
All right, yes, ma'am. I can see that. So I want to bring up, you stopped Wayne. They wanted to shut down Wayne Community College.
Yes.
Can you please? Because when I heard that, I said Wayne Community College and some mental health facilities.
Yeah.
And when you said that, I said, wow. So please explain that to people, how you was able to prevent that from happening.
All right. Well, I'll start with the two, Total Health Care and ProCare. The governor's staff, decision makers wanted to close down those two facilities, two businesses. And of course, when I found out about it, I was having a fit.
Yes, ma'am.
So I called over to my office the decision makers. And of course, you had some black people who worked over there. They weren't the decision makers, but they were the gatekeepers. So I threw the gatekeepers out of my office.
So what is a gatekeeper? Please explain.
Well, I mean, you know, gatekeepers are black folks there to apologize for whatever the other folks are doing.
Right. I mean, I'm from the South too, so I love the language. But we want to explain to people so they'll know.
Yeah, they're there to kind of help defend things, you know, try to shut you down in a nice kind of way. But I wasn't going to have it, so I told them they couldn't attend the meeting, put them out. And then got right down to business. I invited in a couple of my colleagues and we just beat their butts.
Yes, ma'am.
We beat their butts, made them go back to the table and reconsider their decision. And guess what? That saved those businesses. Absolutely, it saved them. It did not shut them down. Oh, I wasn't playing about it. Oh, I meant business. And that's exactly what happened.
What about Wayne Community College?
At Wayne County Community College, well, one of my colleagues was introducing a bill that would allow other communities to separate from Wayne County Community College, right? And when you do that, the college will die. I mean, it really would, you know. So he was introducing this bill, but instead of me doing name callings, you know, when it came to him, every single day we went to battle on the floor, he and I, one-on-one. It wasn't in the name calling or anything like that. And I just kept hammering away about his bill and what that would do. Day after day, finally, he got tired of me. And he appreciated my persistence, and he pulled his bill. He dropped it.
Good job.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I wasn't calling him, you know, racist or anything like that, like some of my other colleagues did. I just kept going back and forth with him every single day. Sometimes my colleagues would see the two of us on the floor going at it. They couldn't really hear us, but we were talking about Wayne County Community College. And so as a result of that, he pulled back.
And you know what? And people need to know that, because to me, when you create a educational vacuum, you destroy the community.
Yes.
You know, so it wouldn't be for you, again, that's why I said the federal Hamo politics, making that one move, Wayne Community College may not even be here.
That's right.
So, you know, again, here's your flowers. We appreciate that. Now I want to go to something that really I am just happy you did this.
Yeah.
The ordinance you did for the landlords and the tenants.
Oh, the tenants' rights and the
Please
compliance.
talk about that. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah. You know, and I'm so thrilled to have a compassionate team. You know, people, my team, they're very compassionate. Joanna Underwood, who has been working in housing herself as a housing advocate prior to coming to work with me, you know, she worked so hard to help get this done. And so when you have people who work with you who really care about people, you can move, you can make those decisions, you can implement policies, you can propose policy that you know that the community wants and that the community needs. And so we were able to get that done. It took us a couple of years to get it done. We went back and forth with the law department. But yay, we got our Tenants' Rights Commission. It's a 9-member commission, 4 appointed by the mayor, 4 appointed by city council, and 1 is a joint appointment. This gives renters, which are the majority in our city now, you know, there are more
60%.
renters than homeowners.
Absolutely.
Yes, and gives them a place where they can go for their complaints or their concerns. And I want to say to renters, before you sign that lease, please go to our Tenants' Rights Commission, have them to review your lease. It's too late after you've entered into the lease, into that agreement, because you want to make sure that they honor those things. If they say you're supposed to have a community room, if they say you're supposed to have a swimming pool, if they say that you're supposed to have air conditioning, they ought to be doing that. And if they don't do it, they're violating their own lease, and you have a right, and here's where my other ordinance kick in, to place your money into escrow. The city is setting up an escrow account, and until your demands are met, you place your money in escrow. Now, don't try to place your money in escrow because you feel like the manager doesn't like you or something like that. Now, if there's some retaliation going on and you can prove that based on some of the things that they've done, then that's different. You know, the fact that you are asking for certain repairs, for a broken elevator to be repaired, for your air conditioner to be repaired, for a hole in the wall that you didn't do, or whatever the case might be, you know, those are all legitimate concerns. And you have a right to place your money in escrow until they make such repairs. If you need new carpet, you know that it's warm, that it's been there for 20 some odd years.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a right to request new carpet. And these are your rights. And I want you all to make sure that you know what those rights are based on what your lease states, So if you're moving into a new place and you have to sign a new lease, know what it says. Go and get some help, because the Tenants' Rights Commission will also have some legal staff that they can turn to, to read those leases and so forth, so that you are protected. Right about now, we only have about 11% of the landlords who are in compliance in this city.
I've seen that.
If you see,
slow.
if you look at other cities throughout, just here in this state, most of them are at 90 to 100%
Fact.
in compliance. But they want to treat Detroit any kind of way. They want to be just like, you might have seen that press conference, 408 homes.
I've seen that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Real
Company
token.
called
Yes,
Real
ma'am.
Token.
Real Token. Yes, ma'am.
People living in deplorable conditions. They bought this money with this property,
yeah.
cryptocurrency, accountable to no one. 165 different LLCs.
Yes, ma'am.
That is why I've asked the state legislature, when you are purchasing properties like that in bulk, we want to know who you are. The assessor's office have been having a difficult time tracking them down. They live in another state. They live in other countries. We want to know who you are. And so I told the state legislature, I sent them information. I said, now, here's what you all want to look at. I said, if it's over 5 properties that you're purchasing, or over 10 properties that you're purchasing, somewhere in between there, you have to reveal who you are. We want to know. We want it well documented so that we can find you. We're not saying that we're trying to be all up in your business, but you're mistreating our residents.
That's right.
That's right.
We need to know who you are, who
That's right.
owns this home,
That's right.
and why it's in such deplorable conditions. And those are the kinds of things that we're faced with. The legislature, the policy people there in Lansing are taking a look at it, trying to see what it is that they can do. We're not talking about all LLCs. We're talking about when you purchase properties, because you have people, you're renting this property out, and having people to live in deplorable conditions. That is unacceptable.
So
That's right.
I just want to share a thought. Because we rented, my mom did, we went through some stuff as well, my mom and dad, and say that. So what if, the people that paid these people for these deplorable conditions all these years until the ordinance was passed. So what if y'all pass the ordinance suggesting that they get their money back for all the money they paid for the living, standing in them houses in those deplorable conditions? And the money they're putting in escrow, if the landlord is not willing to pay them some of that money back, that you be able to pinch off the money you have in escrow when the landlord filing, if they come up to compliance. Would that make sense? Or?
Well, it would, but there are legal issues when
Yes,
it
ma'am,
comes to
I
that
understand
kind of thing,
Yes, ma'am.
going backwards and so forth. And that's something I would certainly need to discuss with the law department in terms of, just how much can we go back and make them do. It would be almost impossible.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not a lawyer, but I would think so. But that certainly is something I can ask our law
And the reason I
department.
say that, Ms. Waters, is because whenever you sign a contract, it's like leasing a car. If the person don't stick to the contract and you have to stay in those deplorable conditions, you might say, okay, well, I'm gonna sue you for the money I done put into. So what I'm only saying is that can the people who've done that stay in these deplorable, because it's hard to find the rent now.
Well, see, the first thing that a judge might say, why did you stay there under those conditions? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you say something before now? But at least right now,
Yes,
now
ma'am.
that we know
Yes,
with this
ma'am.
Real Token and other folks, bad actors like that, moving forward, we have to help educate people, our renters.
Gotcha. Yes,
We've
ma'am.
got to educate our renters and say, you don't have to take this. You don't have to tolerate this. So make sure that you understand what your rights are.
Yes, ma'am. And another thing, I hate how they do senior citizens in these seniors' homes.
Yeah, them
And
living
so
facilities.
my thing is, and I'm just asking, can we have with senior citizens, because seniors are afraid to speak out sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and I done met them.
They are because they don't want to lose their place to live.
And they say, I don't want to be a burden.
Yeah.
And a lot of them family members, and I'll be honest, aren't really watching them like they should.
Right.
That's right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, is there something you can do far as maybe establishing a committee of volunteers that's willing to go out to check on seniors at least twice a month to see how you doing, how's
Well,
everything?
now it's interesting you say that, Tula, because I recently sent a memo to our health department to do senior wellness checks. And she was talking to me. She was talking to me about it yesterday when I saw her out in Spirit Plaza. She said they're putting some things in place. Absolutely.
I think that
you're right on it.
I appreciate it. So my mom, I'm an advocate for senior citizens. My family is. My mom was sex assaulted in a nursing home. And she was only there for rehab in 2020. And a staff member gave her COVID-19. She died from COVID.
From COVID.
And it was a neglect of the nursing home. And my mom used to say to me while she was there, we don't want to fuss and fight. We just want to be treated right.
Right.
In terms of seniors. So I am a strong component, advocate for senior citizens.
Listen, you can't beat me at it.
I know I can't. I can't. And I'm going to talk about that. You did something at Easter Market with senior citizens.
Yes.
And you got something called Club Seniors, correct?
Yep. Something called Club Seniors. This was like we've been doing the Senior Summer Sizzler since I arrived. You know, and each year it gets bigger and bigger, and we looked how to improve it. I saw a lady today. I was at a retiree luncheon, City of Detroit retiree luncheon, and she said, I was just in awe. So many people were down. She said, I had never seen that many people.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, so, and I love doing it. I want our seniors to have a great time. We give them information, helpful information, you know. It's an opportunity to find out what some of their needs are, as well as I walk around and talk with them.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know, so, but yes, we have to continue to lift up and support our seniors, you know. And that's one of the things that I did for seniors who want to age gracefully in their own home. I started a senior accessibility program too. The city goes in and they do an assessment. Of course, it's all income restricted, but they go in and do an assessment to determine if they need ramps or rails, some assistance, some sort of kit getting in and out of their showers. These are seniors who own their own home, don't want to move into a high-rise in an apartment or anything, but want to be able to age gracefully in their own home.
And I think that is great, Ms. Waters.
Yes, it
as far
is.
as putting something like that together for seniors,
Yes.
I feel like seniors are the most neglected.
Yes, and I want seniors to know too that we passed a program. We did a program too that was done by Member Durhall, to do snow removal, free snow removal for seniors, and that is not income restricted.
Wow,
Oh, that's good.
So you say free.
That's good.
So how would
That's very good.
how would they be able to contact you?
Well, what they can do, they can call. You know, I also set up a one-stop shop housing telephone number. All of your housing needs, you call one number, 1-866-313-2520. 866-313-2520.
Wow.
Nice.
And what you mean one-stop shop? Can you-
One-stop shop, because when people need help, they need a place to live. People don't want to be transferred around and around and around. Oh, no, call this number, call that number. I said, no. I said, Mr. Mayor, we don't want to do that, because people will give up. They'd rather sleep on the streets
Yes, ma'am.
than they continue to be transferred around to all these different numbers. No, we need a place where they can call one number and receive some help. And that's why I created that call center that way. I call it the Kamaya Davis Family Resource Center. You all know the story about Kamaya Davis?
I do not.
Kamaya Davis was the 11-month-old baby who was in a house. Her mom had nowhere else to go. There was a hole in the floor. That 11-month-old baby fell through that hole into the basement and drown in water and feces.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to call it that because the purpose is so none of us forget ever. You know, it's a reminder for all of us that no child should have to live or die that way. And little Kamaya Davis, she stays on my heart when it comes to housing issues. Let me tell you, she motivates me. I push and I push. I mean, you know, just see her little face. You know, I'm thinking, Kamaya, you know, what we're doing is to help protect other children.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, so they don't have to die like that.
Wow. So with deadbeat landlords. So also I want to talk about the cryptocurrency. Do you feel that with like the one you're suing now, right? Do you think that they're manipulating or using cryptocurrency and creating all this stuff just to hide? Because really, it's hard to follow cryptocurrency.
It's very difficult to follow. You don't know what they're doing.
Right.
You don't know if they're bringing drugs in. I mean, you have no idea what they're doing. That is my fear as well. They are able to hide so many things that way, you know. And so, of course, I said that out loud to the media. They didn't write about it or anything. But
of course not.
But I said it.
Right.
I said it because it's kind of like a gangster kind of thing, you know. And until we can better regulate it to understand how it's being used, why it's being used, and so forth, I mean, it's pretty scary. But to allow them to purchase all those homes and be able to hide behind all of those LLCs, that's a problem.
165.
165.
At what point did a red flag should have like?
Exactly.
You know, I would have been like. So let me ask you this, because I've never heard of that cryptocurrency being used in the suburbs when they was purchasing homes.
I haven't heard it either.
So is Detroit, and you know, unfortunately, you know, we always the experimental people. I'm gonna say what it is. So is Detroit?
They want Detroit to be the guinea pig for everything.
That was the first place
Yeah.
that they put the Bitcoin machines in the gas stations in the hood. They didn't put them out there in the suburbs, so they put it in the city of Detroit. A lot of people were already coming in there and using credit cards and buying little petty stuff like cigarettes and stuff like that. So somebody got smart and put the Bitcoin machine in the hood versus the suburbs. And you can check that out, facts with that.
So let me ask you this. Could y'all pass a city ordinance? And I'm just asking where they're required to register. If you're going to use Bitcoins, you have to put your name down, who you are, with an ID, I'm just saying, and register that.
Well, it's pretty difficult. I mean, you got to think about the federal side, the state side.
I'm just asking. Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So what we can do is whatever state law basically allows us to do. I don't know what that something is right now.
Yes, ma'am.
And maybe that's something somewhere that they'll have to step in themselves, which is why the state right now is looking at real token and what they did with those LLCs and you know. So I'm hoping that something very positive comes out of that for our community, and that they will drop the hammer on them in terms of how they use it, a better way for us to be able to monitor them, you know. And of course they have to do whatever the federal law allows them to do.
Yeah.
So,
yes, ma'am.
and I don't know what all those things are, but I think we're all working through those. Our law department is working through those
Yes,
kinds
ma'am.
of things as well to see what it is that we can do.
So I know yesterday, if I'm correct, the judge said that the tenants that's under the real token lawsuit do not have to pay rent and put the money in escrow, put their rent money in escrow. They can hold back from the rent.
Yes.
And that money will go in escrow until real token do the repairs to the home. Would I be correct?
That is correct.
Now, how long do real token have
Well,
to
it
perform
depends on what the
Good
court gave
question.
them. What was it? What do you recall what the court said?
I-
Because it's going to be
I-
based on the time frame that the court gave them.
I don't know the time frame.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I'll have to
But
look
Conrad
at that.
Mallett, I
Yeah.
seen y'all speaking,
Yes.
and what upset me, and I'm gonna put this out here, right? The media is not kind to black people.
No, never.
So let me be clear
They
about
always
that.
go for the negative stuff.
So when I went and read, I didn't even know you was speaking about when they filed the lawsuit, Conrad Mallett, the assistant deputy mayor. So I'm looking at the video. I said, well, there's Miss Waters. Because people don't know you've been a champion for housing for years.
Yeah.
Explain what you did for foreclosure, Miss
Yeah.
Waters. Explain that, please.
Yeah, here's what we did when we first got to city council, and we realized that when people have to complete that HOPE application, it can be very intimidating. All of that paperwork, especially for seniors and people who might have literacy challenges. So I started a property tax task force, and we went around the city. We met in libraries, community centers, and so forth, and we helped people to complete those applications because we wanted people to be able to take advantage of the HOPE program they qualified for, not sit back because they were intimidated by the paperwork.
Yes, ma'am.
And end up losing their homes. One guy came to one of our meetings, one of our workshops over on Oakman, and he had walked there. He didn't have any other way to get there. And maybe he didn't have a money for a taxi or anything like that. He said it took him 2 hours to walk there just so that he can get some help. And he did so. We completed his paperwork. We helped him out with it. And then somebody took him back home, drove him back home.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, you see what I'm
Yes,
saying?
ma'am.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Now, that is service. That's giving people things that they can really use. You
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
I mean, it might seem small to
Yes,
somebody
ma'am.
else, but it's a big deal to some people who find that paperwork to be a challenge.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I've asked our board of review and our assessor's office, I said, streamline this paperwork. People losing their homes because they can't get this stupid paperwork done.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, let's admit it. We have some literacy challenges here in our city.
Yes, we do.
So if people need help, I don't want them to feel shy about it. People, don't lose your home because you don't understand the paperwork. Call us. My office number is 313-628-2363, 313-628-2363. I have some staff that's more than capable of helping to get you through that paperwork.
Oh,
I
I appreciate that. Now,
love it.
I know I had seen some when you was talking about the 600 million overcharged taxes for the citizens. And if my understanding, you were saying that the citizens who lost their home should be able to go to the land bank, get their home back for free, and or pay dollar or minimum amount to get the home back.
Yes, we did pass that ordinance because, you know, we're doing everything within our power to help people who lost their home. And we know we can't make up for it. But, you know, state law ties our hand. And we can't go in and write a check to citizens. We just can't do it. State law is not going to permit that. I wish we could, but we cannot. And we wouldn't have enough money to write all those checks in the first place. Because the $600 million is supposed to be just for the residential side of things, right? But there's also the business side. They were over assessed as well. So, I mean, we don't have that kind of money. So we had to try and be creative. If we can get the state to allow us to just do tax credits, that kind of thing, you know, in the future, so that we could, for people who were harmed, we'd be willing to do that. That's why I want the Michigan State Legislature to do a complete overhaul of property taxes here in Michigan. You know, everybody is suffering when it comes to these property taxes throughout this state. And it's time for a major overhaul.
Okay. Hello.
Detroit pays. Why is Detroit property taxes so high? I gotta.
They are high, but you wouldn't believe it. There are some other cities that are higher.
But Detroit. Let's look at economically. Detroit has a very high poverty rate.
Yes,
One
we
of
do.
the highest in the United States.
In the United States.
For an urban area.
Yes.
77% African American. So a lot of that plagues us. So even our car insurance.
Oh,
In the city
don't
of
talk
Detroit.
about the car insurance too. Look, let me tell you,
Yes, ma'am.
it is crazy. They have to get this right at the state level. They tried it a few years ago. It's messed up. It doesn't help anybody. Okay? People are still suffering. They are still redlining. They're still doing territorial ratings. They're doing all that kind of stuff. People are still not receiving any help. I need Lansing, we need Lansing to go back to the drawing board and fix this. Stop these insurance companies from discriminating against us here in this city.
They doing that.
That's what
So,
they're doing.
but okay, then let's talk about the Democratic Party, right? Let's go there, because I guarantee you, from the way you talking, you was there, you was cracking the Fannie Lou Hammer.
Yeah.
So why isn't the Democratic Party? This is my criticism of the Democratic Party, and I say this with respect, and it doesn't apply to everybody.
Yeah.
They do not protect the interests of African Americans, all African Americans. If they know this is happening, Democratic Party in Lansing, why aren't you advocating for the citizens in Detroit?
When they had the majority, you know, the trifecta, if you will,
I remember that.
that was an opportunity to get it right. For insurance, do some things about property taxes.
Absolutely.
That was an opportunity
Absolutely.
to move on those issues, because you don't know when that pendulum will shift. You know, it shifts like every 2 years. Voters get fed up with the Democrats. They'll get fed up with the Republicans, and then
That's
it'll
right.
shift again. You cannot assume that just because you were in power and the majority this 2 years, that the same was going to happen for you the next 2 years.
Correct.
Because
That's
voters
right.
will be angry about something yet again and throw
Well.
you behind out. Then another party takes over. So you never really get anything done. That's why when you have that gavel, you use it right then. You accomplish as much as you can right then when you have those numbers. And they had a trifecta. 2 years, you know what?
So why do you think they didn't do it, Miss Mary? You from the South. Let me ask you. I got to say this.
Yeah.
We both from the South.
Right.
And I'm saying this with respect. Do you feel, and you don't have to ask a question, put it out here, that some people that's in the Democratic Party are still have racist animus, a racist attitude towards African Americans, even though they're in the Democratic Party? Because they did have the House, the Senate, and the governorship. There's no reason to
Tula.
three
You don't have to go any further. Racism exists across the line. Party, non-party. Independent, Republican, Democratic, yes, it exists.
Wow.
And that is just real. You know, most of the time they just want to use black people for their votes and so forth. And then the next thing you know, they're not making those tough decisions that's going to assist us. That is true. And so it doesn't matter if they're a Democrat. Racism still exists.
I appreciate that. Now listen, that's why you defend him, because you call it what it is.
It's what it is. It's what it is. It's the truth.
Right, and I said that, and what I tell the Democrats, stop acting like racism skipped over the Democratic Party. Because even what you're saying right here, you had a trifecta. There was no reason you should not have passed to lower property taxes in Detroit or tackle them car insurance.
Yeah, lower property taxes around Michigan.
Right.
Because there are some other areas that are suffering a great deal. But that insurance thing is affecting the urban areas, especially the city of Detroit. I'm sick and tired of the redlining. I'm sick and tired of them saying, oh, you have more cars. No, you know what I'm saying? They are hurting us big time.
They are.
They are hurting us. People need that money in their pocket. You cannot even afford to purchase a car because of the insurance rates.
That's right.
The insurance in many instances costs more than the car note.
That's facts.
I mean, that is racism at its highest.
That is true.
And then
you got some people don't even have insurance.
Don't have it. Driving around, then they get tickets and they get their license suspended and all kinds of stuff that happens.
So let me ask you,
because they need to get to and from work.
Let me ask you this: I'm just asking, can the city of Detroit sue the insurance companies, questioning, are you compare the rates? Can you sue them for these racist prices? Because it is.
It's it's racist practices. I think we might have to maybe ultimately do a class action lawsuit.
Absolutely.
Perhaps. You know, when I was in Lansing, I introduced a bill. I said, let us have our own insurance company in the city.
Oh, they ain't doing that.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, this is Motor
So
City.
how did that go? Tell me that.
Well, I didn't go anywhere.
What did they say about that? Oh no. Oh
they,
no.
they didn't want to touch it.
But why? But why? Let me ask you that. Why? Why, Mr. Waters?
They didn't say why. Because I'm going to tell you why, though, even for those that didn't want to do it. You know, I wanted us to have our own insurance, something that we could do for ourselves. I want us to have our own lottery, too. So neither one of those.
Great.
You know, but no. The insurance companies, frankly, carry a big stick in Lansing.
Lobbyists? The lobbyists?
Yes.
The lobbyists are
Yes,
lobbyists?
yes, they do.
That's
Yes, they
interesting.
do. Yeah.
Wow. So the lobbyists prevent you. Because I think it's a great idea for us to do a lottery in the city.
Yeah.
Our own lottery. And we invest that money in the community.
Exactly.
Right? Because we don't never
so
win
that
anyway.
we can do things with our own schools, you know, things like that. Yeah, that would be great.
So they said, "Oh man, I never even knew
that was no appetite for that."
So let me ask you, okay, now about the reparations thing that the city council voted on, which I think was an excellent idea, because Woodward is named after slave owners. People are like slavery just happened in the South, right?
Oh, slavery happened in America.
Right. But so what's going on with
the reparations task force?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, they're supposed to have a report for us in September.
Okay.
According to them. And so we'll see what they come up with. I don't know what their recommendations will be. But my thing is, I want more home ownership. I do. Right now, the land bank has about 700 people sitting in some of their occupied properties. I don't know how that's going to turn out. I'm trying to keep a close eye on it so they don't just be evicting people. Then there's about supposedly another 1,400 properties that are habitable. There's an opportunity for people to purchase those properties.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to keep a close eye on those kinds of things too. I want to see Detroiters. I don't know why the land bank can't just take those properties, give them back to the city, let that be a part of our reparations.
Well said.
A lot of this vacant land that we have, that we've turned over to the land bank, we need it back so that we can give it to Detroiters. That's the kind of thing I want to see. First and foremost, because if you own your home, you own land, now we're talking about establishing generational wealth, right?
That's right.
So we want to see those, but I don't know what they're going to recommend. I would imagine they're going to probably give us some strong recommendation when it comes to housing issues and home ownership. That's just what I think, but I don't know.
Why do people have a hard time? Why is the land bank so I mean, I talk to people, I was helping somebody with something. I do paralegal work as well. And they never would call her back, but they would call the lawyer back. I don't understand, Ms. Waters, because I know you have an issue with the land bank.
Well, big time issue. I've had to go after them. I've been held up their memorandum of understanding, MOU, for the past year or so, because I wanted to make certain changes to it. My colleagues didn't want to, and so we've been fighting. Those board members on the land bank, they ought to be from this city. They should be residents of this city.
Where they from?
Everywhere else.
So how they get on the land bank?
Listen.
I need to put this out here for the people. We got 2 minutes. I would be under the impression that if you are on a land bank for the city of Detroit, that's like me being on land bank for Bloomfield,
they're not going to allow it.
So how did that happen?
Well, I think back in 2013 the council gave it to them.
The city council.
I think when the mayor gets to a point, and I believe the council had to approve. Yes, and I think they say we are supposedly to have one representative on that land bank, city council, and I don't know who they are. I don't know where they live.
Well, how many members are on there?
is it about 9 or something like that?
And they
I don't know.
and they're not from the city.
I don't know. When I did a meeting, I invited them to come out to the meeting. They all said they were going to be out of town.
Wow.
Oh, no.
They ain't ready for you. They ain't ready for you. Miss.
They didn't want to deal with me.
So let me ask you this. So can the city council redraft a ordinance?
We could. I mean, we could
redraft and get rid of the city, get rid of them on the land.
We could do anything we want to. We can say we don't want the land bank anymore, or we can offer up. We offered up, since we knew that my colleagues was not going to support eliminating the land bank. We offered up various amendments. Now I've asked the Attorney General for an opinion. One strong thing that I don't like, and that they are using the nuisance abatement program, we call it NAP, and they're taking private property. I don't like.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
They're doing that.
Right.
And so this is property that's not even within the land bank's jurisdiction. Who and why would we give them that type of authority? I don't believe that state law really permits it, but I can't get the Attorney General to issue an opinion. She won't send it, and we asked her several months ago.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Waters, we got to wrap it up. We appreciate you. But what I just want to add on what you're saying, and I just want to say this because we do have to go. Class action lawsuit with that is perfect. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Class action lawsuit will be good against that. If you did a class action lawsuit against land bank, a housing discrimination, even insurance discrimination, I think, and I'm just saying, for those, it may be a great idea. Well, I want to say thank you for coming in.
And I appreciate you definitely coming in as well.
Thank you so much.
And you always welcome here. This is why I call you the Fannie Lou Hamer of politics, because people really don't know what you've done. Right? Like, people don't know, but now they do.
Like with me giving firemen's new mattresses for all the fire stations. I want them to make sure that when they go there, they're rested when they come out.
They never said that on TV.
Yeah.
That just happened 2 weeks ago. They never said Mary Waters. And see, that's what I mean. But we have to invite you back because we got to wrap it up.
That's
right.
right.
I just hate the discrimination in politics. But I'm glad you came. Thank you. We giving you your flowers. We appreciate you. And y'all know what we always say. Listen to what people say. Watch what they do. And stay woke, stay focused, and I'll see you Monday on Real Talk with Tula Cabone at 5 o'clock. And to end, let's give Miss Mary Waters a round of applause. Even if you ain't here, everybody clap if you're watching this show. And I just want to say, power to the people, power to the people.
Power to the people.
All power to the people, power to the people. Thank you so much.